Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third to last video for Latin 2 this year. Congratulations on making it this far. Sincerely, you guys have impressed us teachers a lot. It is not easy to maintain your attention span and your diligence when learning in this new way with the videos. And yeah, I just think it's really impressive that you guys are hanging in there. So keep it up. Let's finish strong and not peter out here in these last 2 weeks. We have three more just like school days technically, including this one, which is kind of crazy. So it's like two more next week, and then finals week. So today we're going to go over these very last five lectiones, three of which you did on Wednesday, I believe, and two you are doing today before the video. And then we're going to discuss the final and what's going to be on it, so you guys are super clear on that. And then we'll discuss a little bonus opportunity for people who maybe want to bump up their grade a little bit before they even go into the final. So we'll get into these lectiones in just a sec. But let's check out the fourth declension. Hopefully that guy on Wednesday did a pretty good job of explaining the fourth declension. This is truly the last piece of grammar that we're learning, and even those of us who don't consider ourselves grammarians or lovers of grammar and noun declensions, maybe there's something kind of interesting. It's like, oh, finally, like a new noun category. We've had the first three for well over a year, and so we're finally adding to it. It's the last thing we'll do this year. It's not going to come up a ton on this final. For my older kids last year, I like to do like a big declension part of the final where they just have to give me like every ending. And now the older kids, they have all five declensions. You guys will get the fifth declension pretty early next fall. But because of formatting issues, we're not going to worry about that. So like you'll be tested on the fourth declension insofar as I will probably underline a single word on the final that is a fourth declension noun, and I'll ask you the case of it. And literally in this video today, I will go over all of the fourth declension nouns that we're going to encounter. So, but I also go over this just so we kind of know it. I think I just used the word literally twice, and they were both superfluous uses. All right, so in red we have the first declension, blue we have the second, orange is third, and then fourth I'm doing in a dark green. So let's go through these one by one, and this is also kind of a chance for you to, brush up on your first three declensions. So nominative, first declension just A, second declension is US or that weird R that shows up in like weir and puer, or UM if it's neuter. Remember, second declension can be masc or neuter. And then third declension, it's a variable. We don't know, though we're seeing more and more that end in just IS, just like the genitive. And then fourth declension is going to be US, which is like the second declension, or in the case of neuter, the neuters where the neuter is different, it'll be after this slash. That is this long U, so like an oo sound. They only give us one single neuter noun this chapter. So when I talk about the neuter endings, don't worry about them too much. What is it genu? Genu the knee? I think that's the only one that's neuter. All right, and then plural, we have I for first declension, the AE. Second, we have E, and then A for neuter. And then third is this ES, or it's A for neuter, just like second. And then fourth, the man of the hour is us. So this macron over the US, that is different than just like an us ending. So we would this long U is really kind of like an oo sound, like someone saying ooh, like EW. So it goes from us in the nominative singular to us in the nominative plural. And the worst thing about fourth declension is that this actually repeats twice, and that's the only thing that's bad about fourth declension. UA for neuter. Okay, genitive I for first declension. I'm just gonna start pronouncing them instead of like spelling them out. E for second declension. Is for third declension. Right, that consistent is. And then fourth declension again, just like the nominative plural, it's us. So that's like a little weird, but we've seen in the first and second declension, the nominative plural repeats in the genitive singular, right? That goes back to that whole thing we used to talk about, like, oh, it's like an apostrophe s versus just an s, making something plural or making something possessive. Okay, the plurals are arum, orum, and uum. So as you can see, the fourth declension, it's all about the letter U. It really likes that letter U. Okay, dative is I, O, E for third, and then fourth is ooey, or if it's neuter, it's just ooh. So neuter is weird in that this ooh ending is just going to repeat over and over again. But again, we have a single neuter vocabulary word. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So yeah, I guess the kind of connection we can try to make here is that ui is kind of like the third declension dative e. There's just a u preceding the I. Okay, plural is, ibis. That's cool. It's just ibis. So yep, we're familiar with ibis. All right, accusative. What is accusative? That's going to be im, and then technically third declension neuters. It's a variable, and then it's going to be So there's nothing weird about that, right? Like that's what if I like asked you guys like, what do you think is the accusative singular? If you were like inventing the Latin language, you guys probably would have said just right? We know accusative singulars love to end in the letter m, and U is a popular letter already. And then U for neuter. Os, ace, or aw for third declension neuter. And then the accusative plural is us or ua. So this is the final time that us is showing up again. It shows up 3 times in nominative plural, accusative plural, and genitive singular. So it's doing that third declension or like neuter thing where the nominative plural is the same as the accusative plural. Last one, ablative o, e, and then fourth declension is oo. So just long U. Go figure, right? Ablative loves just like single vowel endings, and we know like this like U is showing up in every single ending. And then plural is is, ibis. Okay, same thing as dative. Nothing different there in terms of the plural. And there they all are. So if you want to pause the screen, this is your chance. If you're sensing like my second year of Latin is ending, and I still have some kind of holes in my recollection of the declension, maybe take some time to just like sort those out. It really doesn't take much. I still remember what it's like when like your first couple years of being a Latin student. It's like I as a teacher look at this and I'm like, oh yeah, these are the endings. Like, but you guys are like, that's just a bunch of random, boring letter sequences that are just I don't even. I mean, it's too hard to differentiate them. There's all kind of overlaps in ways that it's confusing. I know how it is, but hopefully people are feeling pretty good about the first two and like better about the third than they did at the beginning of the year. And then now fourth really isn't too bad. They almost get easier as you pick them up. And yeah, my older kids are doing, they just got the fifth and they're fine. Okay, here's some examples of a noun that's actually declined. So I'm going to go through the singular side, just so you can kind of hear the pronunciation. So fructus, fructus, fructui, fructum, fructu. Plural, fructus, fructuum, fructibus, fructus, fructibus. So I'm just realizing it, but I guess there's like more overlap in the fourth declension than any other declension. That's kind of cool. And then yeah, so it's cornu. Sorry, not gainu, not knee. Cornu for horn, like unicorn or cornucopia. Um, I mean, check out that crazy neuter singular side. It's literally just the long U over and over again for all of them except genitive. That's crazy, right? But that's the only neuter one. Don't worry about it too much. Let's get into this. De quibus montibus illid flumen calera fluit. This seemed to go pretty decently for a lot of people on Wednesday. So, de quibus montibus. What am I seeing here? Quibus montibus, it's got to be, I'm just guessing ablative, right? I mean, we have ablative showing up like all the time now. This is maybe something I could Google, but I have a hunch that ablative is next to nominative and accusative is by far the most common. Dative is also kind of common. I shouldn't say that. So let's see. Illid flumen. That's just our subject. That river, right? That river. It's nominative singular. De quibus montibus. This is a question. So are we like asking about? Is like this quibus? Is it going to be like an interrogative pronoun, like a what or who question? Or is it an interrogative adjective where we're asking about something else in the sentence? Well, I've already revealed that quibus matches the case of montibus, so I bet we're asking about those mountains. Spoiler, montibus is mountains. So, de can be about, but I think from's going to work here. So, like, from which mountains? From which mountains? Has that noun verbed. So fluid, ignore the big capital L. That's a reference to something from our old kids. But that's from fluo, that's just the perfect tense. So has flowed or just flowed is the way you want to do that. And that it's always weird with questions. We really need the helping verb before we even like get to our subject, right? So that's why like the has is actually really important. Like knowing to use the has, that's a skill that hopefully we're kind of developing, but it is hard because like the first 3 words, from which mountains, but then we can't. It's like from which mountains, subject verb. No, it's like we need to build up to it. Has or have is the go-to helping verb for a perfect tense verb. So that's what we're going to bust out here is the has, that subject, swift river, flowed. And the river is swift, Kellera. Okay, so that quibus was in fact an interrogative adjective, Remember, adjectives love to just agree case number and gender with another noun. So it's easy to remember them. Like, this is the which version of the qui, qui, qua, not the what or who interrogative pronoun, where it'd be like, that'd be more something like, I can't think of a good example that's like using this sentence, but like, what river are we going to cross? Well, no, sorry, that's not a good example. How about what are we going to I cannot think of an example, guys, but I'm not gonna pause the video and start all over again. But it'd be like something like I don't know, like what will we see in the river, or like who is crossing the river? Those are interrogative pronouns. Okay, all right, we can move on now. Nisi eos galeribus istius tyranni liberabimos me tu gravi semper superabantur. This is the largest sentence we've ever translated, guys. Nisi is unless. I don't know. Maybe we've seen that like once or twice. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to light this guy up. Let's see. Well, let me add in the key here real quick. Okay, let's just go up to the comma here, because we do have two kind of distinct parts of the sentence, and it's not even a case. There's no relative clause. It's just two separate dependent clauses. So unless, and then I'm able to get we from liberabimos. Okay, there's a lot going on that I'm not even fully aware of yet, but I should be able to tell that liberabimos is first person plural. So unless we will. Where's the will coming from? That's from the bimos. It's not just first person plural. It's first person plural future. We will free. So unless we will free, and you know what? I'm actually going to drop the will because this is like a condition. In sentences where we use see, we do, like the verb's always going to be future tense, but it actually sounds awkward in English to kind of like treat it that way. So unless we free them, how do I know it's them? Eos. Eos. I already made it red. I think it's a direct object. So them or those men is going to work here. Unless we free those men, that is our third person personal pronouns. I know those are hard, but maybe some of you, if you were stumped, you could use Wiktionary, or you just kind of like sense that it was accusative plural because it has that OS ending. Yeah, that's kind of tricky, but those men is good, or them, like I said. So unless we will free those men from the wickedness of that tyrant. So istius tyranni. Those are the different kinds of genitives, but istios and tyranni can both be genitive. And like tyranni, I don't know what else it would be doing if it's not genitive. If that was like nominative plural, that wouldn't make sense because our subject is we. So it's from the wickedness of that tyrant. So that scalaribus is ablative of separation. Every time you see this verb libero, liberare, assume that we will have an ablative that we are freeing something from. We're freeing the direct object from this ablative. So scalaribus was ablative, that ibus ablative ending. Okay, so what's going to happen if we don't free those men from the wickedness of that tyrant? So istius, that tyrant of yours, is also okay if you wanted to do that. That would actually work here. I see metu, that's a brand new verb meaning fear, and that u ending next to grawi, I think those are both ablative. That is kind of tricky. But when I see like vowels at the end of a noun and it's next to an adjective that also has like a single vowel, I'm just like thinking ablative already. That might not be a skill that you can relate to, but nouns with single vowels at the end, they tend to be ablative, or I guess they can sometimes be genitive. But anyway, so semper always and superabantur, future again, that's going to be what person and number superabantur? Oh, third person plural, exactly. They will always verb. I'm sorry, be verbed, because this superabantur is passive, as you can see in my note down there. Third person, plural, passive. They will always be verbed. So future passive, that's a little tricky. Be verbed by. By what? Like, what are they going to be verbed by? By grave fear, by serious or weighty fear. All right, this one's hard insofar as it's just kind of long-winded, and there is some kind of technical stuff going on. The syntax isn't the most legible for an English speaker, but it's not horrible. Yep, this one's tough. Some of you guys are really good on it. Odi servitutem quae homines affrictibus dulcibus libertatis prohibit. Okay, this is are we doing this one today? No, this was the last one y'all did. Okay, odi. It just means I hate. That's all it is. It's a defective verb. So it's going to be I hate a direct object. Servitutum can be our direct object. I hate servitutum. And then, oh, we have a comma and a quai. What kind of, what are we entering? What kind of realm are we entering once we cross a comma and see a form of qui, quai, quad? Well, it's probably a relative clause. Quae homines e fructibus docibus libertatis prohibit. So it looks like our main clause is literally just I hate servitude. Like that's the whole main clause, and then we're going to expand a lot on servitude in the relative clause that follows. So, quae homines, let's see, I ended up with I hate servitude, which, like, tell me more about the servitude, which prohibet. That's actually future tense, prohibera, third conjugation. So, will keep, or prohibit, keeps good, keep direct objects. So, homines can be a direct object, will keep men, fructibus dulcibus, from sweet fruits of liberty. And so fructus fructus can be fruit literally, or it can be a more figurative fruit, as in like a prophet. But saying fruits here, it works fine. I think people know that that's not like a literal fruit. There's not like a berry that is the fruit of liberty. That'd be cool if there was. I'm trying to think of what you guys voted. What was your favorite fruit again? Strawberry did really well. I was kind of surprised. Strawberry did well. Oh well, now I can't remember, but that one was fascinating. I don't know. I think grapes, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Also, isn't it weird that avocado is a fruit and olives are a fruit and tomato? It's crazy. All right, filii eorum os versus and ludo cross pronuntiabunt. Also, I'm looking at the poll results for today. This is for people in my student advisement. Sorry, some people are probably like, "What are you talking about?" But I do polls every day in the attendance. What is winning right now? It's like I think Harry Potter, Hunger Games, and Marvel are all like really close, and Star Wars actually isn't doing too well. It was like we're voting on franchises. All right. Anyway, filii eorum. So let's see, eorum. That's genitive, right? That orum. So it's like of theirs or just theirs. Filii, I'm not sure that could technically be genitive, but maybe it's just like a plural subject. Hos versus. Could that be direct object? Hos versus, yeah, I think so, maybe. Those, let's see. So host has to be a direct object. Versus could be a lot of things. That's our new fourth declension, ending that could either be nom or accusative plural or genitive singular. But if it's right next to hosts, I'm thinking it's going to be a direct object. It's also accusative plural like hoses, right? That's the second time we've seen that os ending. It's accusative, masculine, plural. In ludo, is that like an ablative? In ludo, cross pronuntiabat. So their sons, or the sons of theirs, but it's just their sons. Their sons will proclaim. Pronuntiabunt is future tense, so will proclaim. Let's see, recite. I think you can get away with translating this as recite, which would actually kind of work here. But we have another word for that, recito, recitare. So will proclaim, that's fine, these verses in school tomorrow. Yep. So in Ludo, place where Ludo can be game, but the context makes it clear that like this is like a school type thing. All right, that one's not too bad. And then let's see, last one. Cursinatus cives nostros a metu illorum coniuratorum eri non defendant. All right, cur. This is one of the first times we've seen cur. It means why. So let's see. And then senatus. Is that just a subject? There's no macron over that u. It's not like it's genitive or accusative or something. Cives, I think that's a accusative. Nostros is going with it. Metu, that's like a little ablative phrase. Illorum coniuratorum. That's a tongue twister. Those are both genitive. Eri non defendant. So let's see what we get with this. So why didn't the Senate defend? Why didn't the subject defend? I don't always do this, but I'm going to underline the subject and its predicate. So that's the whole sentence is sandwiched with the subject and the predicate, which is I think we appreciate that. So why didn't? Why am I using didn't? Right? Again, questions. They're weird because you like need these helping verbs to even get to your subject. We can't just say like why the subject verb. No, it's like we need a helping verb. What else could we do? Defendant, defendo, defendera, defensi. This is not perfect. So we don't want to say like why has the Senate not defended. Um, why does? Why doesn't? Okay. Let's actually use doesn't. Yep. Yeah. The alternative from does, in this case doesn't because it's non-defendant, would be like, why is the Senate not defending? But that just feels like kind of clunky. So how about just why doesn't the subject verb our citizens, quies nostros, our citizens are from something where we have another ablative separation from metu. That's brand new vocabulary words. It means fear. So from fear, and then what kind of fear of those conspirators? Yep. So this sounds like something. Sounds like it's about Catalan. Yesterday, Airy. Yesterday. Yesterday can go anywhere. All right. So one of these will be on the final. One of them. I don't like this one. This one's really long. But if like the other Lectiones were feeling kind of like softball-y, then maybe I would pick this one. I don't know. I'm not sure. This one's cool. Anyway, so 2, 3, 4, or 5. One of them will be on the final. So speaking of that, these are the logistics for our final. It is going to focus on chapter 17, 18, 19, and 20. And chapter 20 is gonna feature in very lightly. Chapter 20 is mostly gonna come into play simply just by like the fact that one of these is gonna show up. I'm not gonna worry too much about the fourth declension. I normally would, but all things considered, we'll just say I pick this sentence. This would be I would underline metu. I would say, what is the case of metu? And you would say, it's ablative. It's fourth declension ablative. And in this case, it's ablative separation. But so that's where the fourth declension will come up. This one, there no versus. It would be versus. I'd underline versus. I'd say, what case is versus? And you'd say, it's direct object. It's accusative, rather direct object. Yep. If I did this one, fructibus is a fourth declension noun, and you would say it's ablative. It looks like the third declension ablative. And in this case, this is an ablative of separation. Are these all ablative? And then, since I'm doing this, I might as well just metu gravi. That's ablative of means. Ablative of means. If I underline metu in this sentence, it's an ablative of means. All right, so like literally that is where chapter 20 comes into play. Mostly 17, 18, and 19. It's very fitting. 17 is where we got our relative clauses, and so like this is where the textbook kind of starts to get into the deep end a little bit. Okay, so there will be 5 translations culled from a set of 10 lectiones. So it's basically going to be 3 from chapter 17, or I'm sorry, 2 from chapter 17, 2 from 18, 2 from 19. And then, so no, it is three from those chapters, and then 1 from chapter 20, as I just went over. Okay, 25 multiple choice question, 20 of which will be given to you wholesale next week. I'm just gonna kind of go through those. I'll have a document printed out in case people have printers, but it might involve you taking like a last big chunk of notes, just kind of like writing out my multiple choice questions. But hopefully people have printers or can just get it out of the Google Docs I'll have on Monday. Yep, those are usually, that section is meant to kind of be a slightly easier part of the test. It is intended to help people. It's supposed to actually assess how well the grammar can kind of keep up with memorization. But for people who struggle with translation, that multiple choice section will help. And then there will be 2 spot translations. The last little thing, and we're done with this video basically, but I really want you guys to focus on not losing more points than you should on the spot translations. The key is simply trying. Do not leave blanks, guys, honestly. I know some of you might be thinking, oh, I literally don't know the vocabulary. I'm going to focus on vocab from 17, 18, and 19, since, again, 20, we're just we're lightly touching on 20. We're not, like, fully doing 20. But I will also gloss the vocab very heavily. So do not ignore those glossed words. I'm going to try to give you basically all the vocab for those spot translations, and I just want you to be focusing on grammar. As long as you are trying and using the words that I'm giving you, you'll get points. Just please don't leave any blanks. All right, looking ahead, next Monday we'll go over the first half of these multiple choice questions, so you're not overloaded with note taking, and then we'll kind of do a quick review, recap, summary of 17 and 18. And then Wednesday we'll do the second half of the multiple choice and do a summary recap of 19 and sort of 20. And then bonus opportunity, if you are kind of like sub B right now and want to get closer to a B or A zone, before you even go into the final, I would suggest that you translate 7 Sententii Antiqui on page 158. That is a chapter 9 Sententii Antiqui. There's only 7 of them, so it'd be all of them. It's very Cicero heavy, a lot of Cicero. Those Antiqui do tend to be kind of tricky because they're like literally coming from people like Cicero, and it's not the textbook writers writing them. But give them your best shot, and be kind of creative when translating them, because sometimes that really helps. And then you can email that to me by next Friday in any kind of format, honestly. I have my ways of telling if people did it themselves or, make sure you're doing your translations yourself. And as long as I can see that you did that, which usually involves them being like not totally perfect, it's fine if they're not perfect, but I can tell if you put effort forth, and I could bump up your grade almost a full letter grade. Maybe not a full 10 percentage points or whatever, but it's going to be close to something like that. I'll figure out some equation, and it'll probably kind of bump you up, if not a whole letter grade, very close to a letter grade. So then when you take your final and get a B or an A, it'll just kind of settle you in 80 plus percentage zone. Okay, guys, have a good weekend, and then I'll talk to you on Monday.